What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another full self-driving beta video. My name is Chris, and today we are finally on the single stack. We have version 11. It's here. I cannot believe it, and there are many changes we're going to try to go over in this video today. And right here, we're starting off on dirt roads. You're going to get it all. We're going to get dirt roads. We're going to get divided highways. We're going to get actual highway, interstate stuff, and then back to a little bit of off-highway. I will have a lot more videos coming, so make sure you hit like and get subscribed so you see those. We'll be doing downtown and everything. So immediately we can see you have new visualizations here, which we'll get a lot more of these when we get onto some actual paved roads. But Tesla has added a lot for us here to kind of help reassure the driver what they're seeing and what the car is doing. So you can see our tentacle is turned into a big wide blue thing that I can no longer call a tentacle, but whatever. As the car is going to slow to approach, we're not avoiding dirt road potholes still. As the car is going to slow to approach a stop sign or something like that, we will have text in the top of the screen, and you'll also get, as you can see here, these chevrons that kind of indicate that the car is slowing, the vehicle is slowing. And those will vary in intensity depending on how much deceleration the car is giving. So very nice to have more visual indications on the screen. And you could see there for a second there was a black bar indicating where the car was going to stop. It didn't need to stop, so it got rid of that and continued. So I'll put up the release notes here for you. You can go ahead and pause and read those if you like. There is a lot having to do with lane changes, a lot having to do with other cars kind of cutting into us, and also lane change decisions. It talks about back-to-back lane changes and being better at that. So overall, we're going to see how the car does. So this is my first drive so far, so I don't have really any thoughts yet. I will say this dirt road so far is nicely staying to the right, whereas in the past, a lot of times the car would be too much in the middle when it didn't need to be, but it doesn't really matter on a dirt road. So another thing, I probably will skip over boring stuff in this video. It's kind of my first drive initial impressions, but don't worry, my future videos, I will skip nothing. I don't hide anything, but you know, people think I do. So it's a long drive and there's a lot of boring straight road, but if anything happens on those straight roads, I will of course include that. The other thing included here, two more things I want to talk about. The recall is included in this, so I'll put up screenshots of that, and this kind of fixes what NHTSA was complaining about. So going through a solid yellow or whatever they called it, and that should be fixed. Again, that's a big judgment call, but they kind of explain there in the release notes how they're going to make those decisions, and then going straight from a turning lane or vice versa should also be fixed. All right, road was getting a little bumpy there, so I want to skip over that part. So let's check out this stop sign. So here's some of the new animations. The chevrons we've already seen, but those will vary in intensity depending on the deceleration. You can see the black line there, which shows us where we're going to stop. And that actually was red for employees, but they decided to make it black. There's a lot less colors in this version. And we're going to make a left turn here. So there's somebody coming. We had enough time. The turn was a little slow, but that was an okay turn. So and now somebody's passing us. Okay, that's, what the heck? All right, whatever, look at that. That guy was not there. There's a bend back there, it's kind of hard to see. So he was not there, and I guess he was going very fast. So anyway, you can see those new animations with the chevrons, the black stopping line, and all of that. So talking about the recall notes, it's talking a lot about what NHTSA asked for, going through intersections, making stops, at yellow lights when you need to, and also not going straight through turning lanes and all those kind of things. So we'll see if those are fixed, but Tesla kind of describes how to fix those. So another thing to talk about is disengaging. So when you disengage the car, let's see with the stock if it works. I would guess not. So yeah, it does. So it says right here, autopilot disengaged, what happened? You can hit this and you can say, hey, check out Dirty Tesla on YouTube, hit like and get subscribed to see all of the errors that you need to see. There we go, recording sent. So that will be sent back to the autopilot team and they can review that clip. Of course, I'm not gonna mess around like that, but I'm sure they're gonna be getting some funny messages. So another thing, I don't think I showed you this yet, the autopilot menu has completely changed. So now we have at the top autopilot features. I can't change these because I currently have beta enabled, but you can pick just traffic aware cruise control. I find that kind of strange that that's an option, but whatever. You can pick auto steer, which should be just your base autopilot where kind of the old stack, right? The navigate on autopilot and things like that for the highway. And then the normal, it's not gonna make right turns and left turns and all that. And then our full self-driving beta profile is the same here. So we have that, and then lane change notifications. That used to be buried within Navigate on Autopilot because, you know, that was something different. So now you can have lane change notifications all the time. I love that that's an option. I don't think I want it. but let's try it out. Since it's new, we'll put it on. Minimal lane changes for current drive. You can see here, if you want the car to make less lane changes, then it will only do it for navigation. Great option. There's a lot of times where the car is just making lane changes all over the place and it gets really frustrating. So to be able to limit that, if you are not, testing it on a video or just want to relax a little bit more or whatever, I think that is an amazing option. I'm so glad that they included that. We'll leave it off for now to test it. Now, one other thing I noticed, they changed your speed offset. You used to be able to have an absolute where you could, make it go 10 over or 20 over or whatever. Now you can't do that. You can do a percentage of offset. And so we can do this. What I found was strange, I always have mine set to 0. This was defaulted to plus 10%. So that was strange. I set mine back to 0 especially for testing. I like Beta to just go the speed limit. But NHTSA did not take away our ability to speed. I can still set whatever speed I want, but I can't, the car cannot automatically, speed for you. I guess it can, but in a certain sense. So there we go. You can see this is pretty straight and boring. Nothing is happening. No phantom braking, like 0 so far whatsoever. So let's skip ahead to our next turn and see how it does turning onto a road with very high speed traffic. All right, so we got our chevrons popping up here. So it seems like there's more of them since we're decelerating a little quicker, and now they are starting to go away. Normally for videos I turn off the preview, but we'll want it on the highway. So we'll make a complete stop here at the stop sign, which nobody's gonna like. Oh my goodness, that takes way too long. Come on, NHTSA. And then it's clear. So a really nice, assertive, oh, don't stop here. I gotta hit the accelerator, what are you doing? Okay, I'm gonna report that. I still have the report button along with the voice, but you could see it had the little stop line there, and there was no traffic, so not that big of a deal. But what, after the stop sign, it was gonna stop again? I don't know, that's a bug. Beta's not done. We'll say that for the rest of time, but whatever. So it did, I like the way it moved out of that turn, but then it totally screwed it up after it was like perfect. Now I'm already seeing different behavior here in the past, so what are you doing? Changing lanes to follow route. Yeah, that's not right. Okay, so it didn't do it, but we need to go to the left. The different behavior I was going to talk about is in the past, the car has moved over to that left lane like immediately, because we do move to the left, but like right after that right turn, within minutes, it would do that. Let me move this over here. There, that's better. So changing lanes to follow route, use turn signal to cancel. Okay, that's nice. That's nice to see. A little bigger text, and wow, okay, so we're stopping for this yellow. Nope, we're going through the yellow. Okay, I definitely would have stopped for that yellow because we were already decelerating because of the traffic in front of us. Interesting to see though, for whatever reason, whatever calculations they use, sorry NHTSA, whatever calculations they use to make those decisions didn't apply there. I find that interesting. The car is being very assertive here in the fact that we have to get in the left lane here to get on the highway, and it moved to the right to get around this traffic. That's why it moved over here. That's why it made that lane change back, because it saw all this slow traffic. I'm very surprised, but one of the release notes said it is better at getting into kind of tight spaces, basically. So let's see here. You can see that car's there, and we have this van ahead. They give us a little space, and we have space. It's tight, but we could move over. Semi is, oh man, someone cut that semi off. He's honking like crazy at him, but it wasn't us. So it did make that lane change. Very nice. Now we need to move into these left turn lanes. Okay, not bad. I'll take it. So we've had one intervention so far, and that's it. So pretty nice. Okay, so we're in our left turn lane. The deceleration was perfect. The yellow light is pretty funny. Yeah, so we'll see how we get onto this highway here. All right, so here we go. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Single stack. We're accelerating a bit slowly. Can you please hurry up? No, we're gonna miss it. All right, see you on the next one. We did stop for that yellow light. That's good. While we're sitting here, I will say this intersection looks absolutely amazing. So you can see we've lost a lot of the colors. We don't have the red boundaries. We don't have like the yellow and all of that. But the traffic lights now are blue. So just like cars that you're tracking, that you're following, the traffic lights that you're tracking are blue. So those ones on the right, those two on the right, we should not be tracking those. And you can see it's kind of popping back and forth. The two in the middle on the display are the two we should be tracking. And then it sees that one way over there, which actually we can track that as well. That is our light. But yeah, it's kind of popping around on which ones it wants to really track. All right, so we got our green pretty much immediately moving forward, well before the person next to us. Acceleration is nice. I would accelerate a bit more. Don't stop. Okay, so a little bit of weirdness there, but we're still well ahead of our other vehicles, so no problems there. So I'm gonna report that actually. So still some little weirdnesses here with where it thinks it needs to stop. Whatever, when you make these major version changes, you know, I'll say so far the performance for going from a V10 to V11 is actually pretty good. So we're about to hop on the highway here. We got it set to 70. I'm gonna set it to 75. That's just what I drive on the highway. And now, will you move over right now? No, you're gonna wait till the lane ends. You're still waiting. Okay, so that was not very good. And that's pretty much what we saw. Oh, now you're changing lanes into faster lane. Okay, that's fine. That's pretty much what we saw before we had version 11 single stack, is the car would, like, making that transition was pretty awkward. So it would wait till the end of that on-ramp, or the end of that, you know, lane or whatever. And that's pretty much what it just did. So that was a bit unfortunate. I was hoping to see better behavior there, but we didn't see it. So let's do some highway driving. There should not be a lot happening here. The highway is pretty boring, and autopilot has been very good at the highway for a very long time. So we're gonna hope that the car is still very good and very smooth. So far we're doing good. Once we pass this truck, hopefully we'll move right out of the passing lane. Okay, so pretty much immediately it turns on that signal, changing out a passing lane. It is tracking that car, that truck. Very nice and very smooth lane change. So we still have our nags, as you can see, hand on the steering wheel. Elon said those would be getting removed in January, but they're still there. I don't know how I feel. I would actually like those gone. I think it'd be kind of nice. And this bit of road should be a nice bit of nostalgia for you if you've been watching the channel for a while. This is what we used to do for autopilot videos, because this is where it worked, and this is where it did things like made lane changes and passed slow traffic and took exits. And you know what? I'm happy to say this is just as boring as it should be so far. Highway nothing crazy should be happening. I don't want to make a bunch of lane changes. I actually usually turn off lane changes when I'm on the highway, just because I don't care if I go 72 or 75, like whatever, I'm just going to work. I don't want to be, you know, having the car bob and weave all over the place. I do imagine it's going to make a lane change here soon. And of course, I'll leave them on for the video for you guys to see how it's performing. Let's see. Yeah, so it's tracking those cars pretty far back there with the repeater, or maybe the rear cam. I did make sure my rear cam was clean for you on this one, just so we could have, you know, kind of optimal performance here. And here's the lane change. So right as that person passes, 1, 2, yeah, so it dings and moves over pretty much immediately, whereas before it would do that ding and take up to 6. Again, very smooth lane change. That was pretty much perfect. It didn't take too long. Turned on the turn signal as he was passing to kind of say, like, all right, we're going to do it, and then took it as soon as it could. Felt great. Now, we should be moving over here, but sometimes the car thinks it needs to be in this lane to follow route. So we'll see what it does. I'm not driving, it's beta, so complain at beta. Here, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna put my turn signal on. I'm gonna disengage. Oh, it turned off everything. Oh my gosh, that's a new behavior that they should have told us. What the heck? That wasn't good. You were not changing out of the passing lane when you needed to, but I guess if you stayed there, you were right and I was wrong, sorry. So, it changed the speed limit down to 70. That is a surprising behavior I did not expect. So I had it set to 70. If I take over steering, it lowers the speed. So we pretty much immediately started decelerating. And then it puts it back up. That's not good. Don't do that. Yeah, if you guys are watching this, that is gonna confuse people. I don't know why you would change the speed when I take over steering if you've never done that before. So changing lanes into faster lane, I guess that's appropriate. Oh, but there's a cop behind us. So I don't want to, well, all right, let's pass this pickup truck nice and slowly. I mean, if I get pulled over, I'm sure that'll get a lot of clicks on the video at least. But then as soon as I pass this guy, I'm in the turn signal moving over. I don't want to get in a cop's way. You know, they're usually flying on the highway. They don't have to follow the speed limit from my understanding. And there we go. So we'll just stay here and we'll keep going. All right, so here's where we might have a problem. In the past, so let's see how that shows a traffic light? So the car, for whatever reason, I think we can tell the reason, but it thinks those green and red signs up above are traffic lights sometimes. Now, 90+% of the time, it doesn't interact with them, but that other 10%, it will give a very brief slowdown. In the past, it used to be, years ago, it was terrible. But now it's really not so bad. So you can see it thinks that's an off traffic light. So I've reported it a million times. I don't think at this point it's really going to do much, but Hopefully it doesn't have any weirdness because of those things. Now, another thing to note, I'm curious about, look at that. Okay, so this yellow line over here, it's called a flex lane, and it's open sometimes, basically during rush hour. With the green arrow, you can see it's currently open. In the past, Beta, Navigate on Autopilot would never use that lane to pass traffic or anything, because it thought, because it's a solid yellow line, it's not allowed to pass it. I'm curious, we have a little gap in traffic here. I want to see if it will now, if I use the turn signal, go over this yellow line. I imagine it will not. No. So it still won't use that flex lane. So that's one of those things that's very weird. It's a non-standard, thing going on here. And it can't use it, even though legally you can use that lane if you want to use it. So now this is where it gets goofy with humans. So you can see that guy's passing me. Good, that's the passing lane. But people don't realize that that's a passing lane. So now somebody's passing me on the right when they can be using the lane that they're supposed to be using to pass. And this is where it gets crazy. You can see why. What are you dinging about? I always up my speed. I'm gonna up it again. It's just, everybody's going too fast. I guess I could move to the right, make the car move to the right, but whatever, who cares? Let's go 80 and see how the car handles at 80 miles per hour. And I don't want to hear it, because look, 80, that guy's literally looking down at his phone and passing me. I'm not making this crap up. Does he have autopilot even? I don't think so. Oh my gosh, the roads are scary. They're scary. People are worried about Beta. This dude literally was like this, looking down at his phone as he passed me he must have been going 85. Okay, so now it wants to go 50. So here's where we're gonna have our Beta on the highway problems. Oh, and look at this. So here's our new graphic, inappropriately, where you're going more than whatever percentage, I forget what it said in the release notes, over the speed limit. It'll give you this little glow. Now, I like it, but it's wrong. That's not the speed limit. And I guess I need to mention the signs above. Maybe that's what it read. That is also not the speed limit. That's a dumb suggested speed that if there's an accident or something, they'll lower it and say go 30, whatever. And that makes sense. The problem is when there's zero traffic, it still shows 60. But the speed limit's 75, so why would you suggest going less than the speed limit? Isn't that illegal? I don't understand those signs. But yeah, so there's our new graphic that's being used incorrectly. I don't know why it thinks it's 50, but it's wrong. So another problem for Beta here on the highway. And back to 70. So there you go. So we're moving over here away from the semi. That's an ability the car's had for a while. It's nicely reflected in the graphic there. The tentacle, I'm going to keep calling it that, legacy words. And we move back over. You can see we center back in our lane very nicely. All right, so changing on a passing lane, again, that's technically incorrect, but because the car doesn't know what a flex lane is, and it thinks that yellow line is the edge of the road, it thinks that we're in the passing lane over there. I'd rather be in this lane anyway, but... And now changing lanes to follow route, which is correct. We need to be off to the left here soon. Let's see, okay, we're gonna take that way. Very good. All right, so we got a bend in the road coming up. Should be pretty simple. I mean, Navigate on Autopilot handled this, no problem. We'll see how Beta does it. Yeah, pretty nice. A little too much slowdown in my opinion. Nothing wrong with that, it's safe. But just, I don't know, actually that feels really good. Maybe I'm being a little too picky. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Got the sun in front of us, but with some cloud cover shouldn't be a problem. Really nicely staying in the lane here. We're a bit to the left, but no big deal. We're firmly in our lane for sure. And then accelerating nicely out of the bend. Wow, that felt really human-like. Felt really good. So, again, not technically in the passing lane. Our exit is on the right coming up here. I mean, a couple miles. I just like to move over. This is where I like to just sit there and just chill. Even if we go a bit slower, who cares? But Beta's not going to do that. We're going to pass this car towing truck here. And then our exit is coming up. We'll see how that's handled. Wow, okay, so we're slowing for this guy. I'm not sure, I don't know. If I was him, I would have waited for us, but whatever. So we'll slow for that. Changing lanes into faster lane. So yeah, I don't know. That's one of the things. It's a robot, so this is technically the right thing to do. You pass on the left, but our exit's coming up on the right. So I'd rather just move to the right and pass them over there. There's no cars, but what are you gonna do? All right, so it knows that this road splits off. That's correct. And we have 1 mile left until our exit. So again, what's your cutoff here on when you want to get over? I mean, there's no cars anywhere. So I would definitely be off to the right already because our exit's coming up. So what's the point? We also have cars. All right, here we go. Changing lanes to follow route. So it looks like about 0.75 miles, I would guess. 3/4 of a mile is when it's gonna move over, just to guess so far. We also have this traffic coming in over here, so that's nice to be out of their way. All right, and then here's our exit, which Navigate on Autopilot has been handling beautifully for years for me at this point. Let's see how Beta does. Oh yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That felt no different to what I've experienced in the past, which is kind of the goal. Again, it's been very good, so I mean, if it can be better, sure, but you just don't want it to be worse, and that felt good. So overall for the highway portion, this is basically exactly where it would change back to Beta before we had Beta on the highway. For the highway portion, that actually felt very good. Everything was super smooth. The lane changes were beautiful. I liked the feeling of them. As for the negatives, the wrong speed limits are kind of going to be a big deal. Did it show a motorcycle there for a second? The wrong speed limits are a big deal. Now, again, if you're paying attention, and just like in this video, you just press the accelerator, or you fix it, you change it back. Very nice. Moving through that green. Let's go. That's awesome. But if you're not paying attention, if you're being a goofball like some people are, it's going to catch you off guard. It's not going to be good. So you got to be careful with that. And then moving out of the passing lane worked very well for most of it, but not great. So we had a few times where I think it should have moved a lot sooner, and it didn't. Although one of the times when I moved it manually, then we had to move back anyway. So it's kind of a judgment call. All right, let's finish it up. I have just a little bit more. I want to see, it's going to change speed limits here, and I want to see how it slows down for the lower speed limit, and then we'll call it. So I will point out, this stopping feels very smooth, very good. It's leaving a bigger gap, which was mentioned in the release notes, because it wants to be prepared to be able to change lanes. So that was very apparent right there, and felt very good. So we did get the lower speed limit. Unfortunately, there was too much traffic, so we weren't really speeding. And here we go. So stopping for traffic light, we'll get to see a right turn on red here, which will be good. Oh, Ford Lightning over to the left. You probably can't see them. We're clear to go. We're creeping forward for visibility. It's definitely like, you're good, but it doesn't feel comfortable for whatever reason. Still creeping, it says, and it just moved through. So that's kind of strange that you have the creeping message, but it pretty much was one smooth, fluid movement through the turn. Let's get this roundabout. Let's do it. Roundabout in the first version 11 video. See how it does. This roundabout's pretty hit or miss. Sometimes it's absolutely perfect. Other times it is terrible, even in the last version. So let's see how it does. I wonder if it'll say 4 roundabout here. So we have a yield, and we can move through. And yeah, stopping there, not good. Keep going. Press an accelerator. Oh, okay, there you go. Woo, big acceleration. It's very confused. It's going very slow. Yeah, so roundabouts are still pretty sketch. We'll report that one. Okay, overall, version 11, we still got some of our quirks that we've had in the past, but it felt very good to me overall. I covered all the highway stuff. I am very glad to not see anything too crazy changing, because when you get these big version updates, that's when, you can see bigger mistakes. But it felt pretty good overall. I'm going to have more videos stopping for stop sign. And there's pedestrians up there creeping forward. This is pretty much the end of the drive. So I hope you enjoyed that one. I look forward to talking to you down in the comments, and you will see me and Full Self-Driving Beta in the next video. Ugh. What are you stopping for? Just go.